Okay.
I was there when they put the concrete. I helped them lay it. I'm that bitch.
Oh. It's so many things happening.
I can't do this, Sidney. I'm sorry.
In the morning when the sun starts to rise, so mama, don't stress your mind.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into my channel. It's your girl Nesha here, back with another video. So today's video is my review of Love and Hip Hop New York Season 9, Episode 8, okay? This is only going to be about the highlights, guys. So if you did not see the episode, I'm so sorry, but I just cannot continue to do play-by-play. You know, it's just not fair for those that actually watched it. It's just not. Okay, so let's start it. So we start this episode off with Joe and Sin. Joe goes to visit his therapist, and he's talking to her about this whole thing that's going on with Sin. How she just feels like he's not there for her, he's neglecting her, so on and so forth. And then he also gives us a replay of what happened, I guess, seasons ago, when he visited the therapist because his relationship with his son was non-existent, so he tried to get direction. So then now fast forward, we're here, and he doesn't want the same thing that happened with the previous child, his oldest child, to happen with Sin and his new baby. So he needs help. He's trying to seek some type of direction, and he's crying as he's doing this, okay? So you can tell this is really weighing on him. This must have been the realest scene that I've seen so far on Love and Hip Hop. Like, he's really upset. He's trying to figure out how to work with her. He loves her, okay? So then the therapist is talking, and then she said, you know, I would love to meet with Sin if I can. And he says, sure. So then he goes out and gets Sin. I thought Sin was gonna be at home, child, but Sin out there waiting her turn. So Sin comes in, and she sits down and she starts talking about this postpartum depression, and then she talks about how she was molested when she was 5 years old. And so then she just starts crying, and she goes in talking about her past, you know, how she was neglected and stuff like that. And so then the therapist is listening, and she's like, then now with Joey, like, when I see that he's not giving me the attention, or he's not trying to spend time with me and all this other type of stuff, it just like burdens me, because you're already suffering with what you went through in your past, and then now all of a sudden this guy is not hearing you out or trying to help you rectify whatever happened. Not that he can, because this is stuff that happened when you were a child and you were molested. You know, all he can do is just try to protect you and help you not to go through something like that again, but he can't fix that. All you can do with him as your partner is to, you know, talk to him, talk it out, communicate, try to, you know, build that trust. You know what I mean? So he's just like, look, I'm trying. I didn't find out she was depressed until she told me I'm having postpartum depression. So he's like, I don't, how can I help you with what I don't know, okay? So then the therapist brings back Joey, and then they're crying together, but they plan on working it out and trying to communicate more and just build a better foundation amongst the two of them, because ultimately they're raising a child together. So you got to get that right if you want the children to turn out right. And it kind of makes sense. But later on, we find out when they meet up with Remy and Papoose that I don't know if she's taking this healing properly or not properly, but I don't know if she's taking it seriously, because he even made time. He cleared the schedule for her. He sent the baby off to somebody, not a nanny, I think a family member, and he tried to make time for Sin, but Sin did not come through. She stood him up. She actually went out with Jonathan. And then this makes me feel like, okay, are you just complaining because you're trying to say some shit, or do you really have these issues and you're trying to make it work? Because if the man clears his schedule and you already know that he works 24/8, okay? So if he's trying to clear his schedule for you, why wouldn't you be there with him? And then for Papoose to say, well, I think the solution is to get married. Are you freaking kidding me? You don't go into the relationship with problems because they only manifest even more. That's dumb advice coming from Black Love. I didn't understand it. Okay, so now let's talk about Yandy and Infinity. So Infinity is the child that Yandy was mentoring, that called her and was like, look, you don't come get me, I'm gonna run away forever, you'll never see me. Okay, so Yandy has been granted permission by the judge in order to take Infinity home with her, keep her there while she's trying to qualify to be a foster parent. Well, Infinity's mother, Lorraine, meets with Yandy later on in the show. and they're talking about Infinity. And basically Yandy wants to know what happened. Like, you don't have to give me full details, but just tell me a little bit about her. I'm trying to qualify for this. This is going to be really different for me, but I'm willing to fight the fight. And so Lorraine basically tells you, I was a single mom. I have 6 kids. I was always working. Infinity would like just leave the house and she stayed gone. Don't come in till 2 or 3 in the morning. She was one of those rebellious type teenagers. And that she wasn't in the foster system all her life. It only happened around, I think, in her teenage years or whatever. Okay, so people within the neighborhood, wherever she stays, would call CPS on her because her daughter Infinity would say that her mom was mistreating her and beating her and stuff like that. So that's how Infinity ended up in the foster system. But that makes me wonder, where are the other kids? Because you say you have 6, so if this is 1, what are the 5? You know what I mean? Simple math. So so they're talking and she's like, oh, okay, because Infinity actually gave me a different perspective. She didn't tell me that. She made it seem like she was in there in foster care since she was a baby. She's like, no, that's far from the truth. But Yandy seems to be trusting of Infinity, and so she's going to continue with the process. Also within this episode, Yandy's mother-in-law met up with her regarding this whole Infinity situation, and she brought up a really good point. You really trust in this young lady, but you know nothing about her. Have you spoken to the foster parents? Have you spoken to other people besides Infinity? I understood where her mother-in-law was coming from with that. Because you don't want to just bring anybody in the house with your kids. And that's what prompted the meeting with Lorraine, which is Infinity's mother or whatever. So, again, proved her point. You didn't really know all of this because Infinity's story was completely different from the one that, she told you. And later on, I guess, Infinity caught wind that her mother had met up with Yandy, and she gets out of a car while it was driving. Okay, I guess the car stopped. I must say that the car stopped. Okay, she gets out the car and just takes off walking. Don't know where the hell she going. She just walking, just trying to find a way, just pissed. And she ends up confronting Yandy over the fact that Yandy met up with her mother. And she said she's just a liar. She's just lying to you. Why would you meet up with her and you didn't tell me? First of all, hold on. Who the child and who the adult? I'm fighting to get you so that you don't have to stay in this foster system for another 3 years. I'm trying to get you to come to my house, okay? And you gonna sit here and try to confront me over the fact that I met up with your mother? I'm grown. I can do whatever I want to. And first of all, I'm trying to find out about you. See, Yandy is very trusting. And I think that people tries to play on that, knowing how loving and trusting that she is. And it could come off to many as naive. But I don't know. I wish the well for them. Your girl Sidney Starr meets up with Jonathan. He asks her a legit question. Can you rap? Can you be compared to Cardi B? And so then she's like, what you mean? And she starts rapping y'all a bunch of trash. I'm not even exaggerating, it's trash. And Jonathan, he's so damn fake. See, I don't like friends like that, nigga. Tell me when I don't sound appropriate, okay, for radio. Don't sit there, yes, and then the whole time you like, no, because he exited right quickly in the confessionals, okay? He said he can't even stand by you on this one. So then later on, she goes to Jonathan's master class, and Nya Lee is there. That's like his motto or whatever. This girl, Sidney Starr, walks in and completely altered the dress that Nya Lee gave her to kind of clean up her image a little bit, because she was looking all raggedy like some broke down stripper in the nightclub, okay? So your girl tried to help her out a little bit, like clean it up. You don't have to always show cleavage or whatever. I get you trying to be a girl, but this ain't the way to do it. Your girls can look classy. You know, you don't have to be looking all like that. So anyway, she walks in. And she done messed up this dress. Oh, when I tell you, she looks horrible. Okay? It looks like something that Mama Steak Sauce would wear. Like, she does not look well at all. Anyway, of course, Nya Lee's pissed off. What you mean? Like, you done alter my dress? Why you do that? She doing all shit like that and all in her face and trying to buck at her. Now, granted, I understand when you trying to like just be funny or whatever, but you can't do that with a female that you met like 2 seconds ago. You have to carry yourself a certain type of way, especially one that's taking the time out to help your ungrateful ass. Anyway, in a deleted scene, she met up with her mother, and her mama put her in a place, gave her the best parental advice ever, and told her, look, you need to accept the help that's being given to you, and sometimes you don't have to be all defensive and stuff with the way that you handle the advice that you're given. You know, constructive criticism save lives. You know what I mean? So her mother was basically encouraging her to just accept the advice and move on. Okay guys, so the last thing we're going to talk about is Rich Dollaz' baby mama Miracle and his daughter Ashley. They come up to New York to talk about what in the hell transpired down in Tennessee. Okay, now apparently I don't know what the hell that man did to her, but homegirl Miracle pulled the gun on him and shot him. She went to jail, had to post a $100,000 bond. She says that originally the charge was attempted murder, but then they lessened the charge to assault on a family member, I believe, or something like that. And then the guy, who I believe is her ex-husband, he was not going to file charges, but then he decided to file charges. I mean, you tried to kill the man, okay? So Rich Dollaz is here talking to him. He's like, look, I didn't know anything that happened. Why y'all not opening up to me? My daughter's down there basically suffering. And not only that, she had to drive him to the hospital. How does that look? You shot him, but then my daughter has to be the one to drive him? What's going on? What's going on, Miracle? He's like, look, I'm going to be there for you 100%, but you got to be thinking about these decisions that you're making before you make them, because we have children. Well, they have a child, and then I think she has other children or whatever. So you have to take them into consideration when you're doing stuff like this. You could have been out of said situation. You didn't have to be with dude. I don't care what he do in his community or whatever. And I think he's a pastor, or either he has some type of role in the church or whatever. So he's just like, look, I can be there for you as much as I can. She's like, but God is gonna handle it. He's like, what? And I'm with Rich. What you mean God gonna handle? God didn't pull that trigger. Now y'all love to lean on that. You church folk love to lean on that. God fix it. God, you go out there and sin 24/7, and you come back and be like, God's gonna fix me. No, sweetie, it don't work like that. You try to live a better, more righteous life, and God blesses that situation. And if you tend to fall short every now and again, then God is going to help you out of the situation, but you have to learn from it. But I don't know, because I believe she got off on that charge. I'm going to say that because I don't think she's in jail right now. But, you know, not that I wanted her to go to jail. It's just that it bothers me when people do that. You do all this sinning, and then the one time you get in trouble, big trouble, you be like, God gonna fix it. Let me just throw this out there. If you or somebody you know is being mistreated, abused mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, if y'all ever need to talk, or if you ever need any type of context, Google them, okay? And if you just want to talk to me, please call and talk to me, because I went looking. Let me see if I still have it pulled up. Okay, y'all, so there is this article on walking into a new life, and it's on DeAndre and Miracle Hall, keep love and family first. But anyway, y'all, real quick, it says, that relationship almost took me to my grave. He kidnapped me and held me hostage, beat me, attempted to murder me with an AK-47 rifle, and so much more. I have jumped out of moving cars in an attempt to get away from him and his abusive ways. I once escaped out of my room after hours of being held hostage. I ran out of those apartment bare feet into a busy intersection that was not far from where I lived. That's what she said. I think she meant I ran out of an apartment bare feet into a busy intersection that was not far from where I lived. I remember running, thinking I'd rather get hit by one of these cars, in which I almost did, rather than to let him catch me. This is not the way you should live. God wants you to live happy and live the abundant life. So I chose the abundant life without abuse, and will forever encourage others to choose the same. So I don't know whether he is the one that abused her or if it's somebody else, but if you were married to him a year ago, then it would be him that you shot. But did you shoot him because he was abusive to you? Like, what are the details, y'all? If you know the tea, put it down below. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for you. Go ahead and get into the comments. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe with the bell so you're notified every time that I release. Until next time.
Yeah, low key and maybe high key. I been peeped that you like.